The rain fell like the heavens were breaking apart that night. Cold, relentless, and merciless. Logan tightened his worn jacket as the windshield wipers groaned against the downpour. His old truck rattled down the lonely country road, headlights slicing through sheets of rain. He was returning from his night shift at the diner, exhaustion clinging to his bones, when he saw her, standing in the middle of the road like a ghost from a broken dream. Her white dress was torn, clinging to her skin, the makeup on her face smeared by tears and rain. For a second, he thought she was a vision, maybe even an angel lost in the storm. But when her eyes met his, wide, trembling, and full of pain, he knew she was very real. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected love, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us keep bringing stories that touch the heart and remind us of the beauty in humanity. Logan pulled over and jumped out of the truck, his boots splashing into muddy water. The woman flinched as he approached, clutching the sides of her torn dress as though trying to hold herself together. She looked like she'd run through a storm, and maybe through something even worse. Her hair was drenched, her mascara streaked down her cheeks, and her trembling lips were pale from the cold. Without a word, he took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. It was warm and smelled faintly of soap and coffee, comfort in the middle of chaos. She hesitated for a second, then let him guide her into the truck. Inside, the heater hissed weakly. She didn't speak for several minutes, only stared blankly out the window as the rain thundered outside. Logan didn't ask questions. He knew what it was like to be broken and just need a little quiet. It had been 3 years since his wife, Clara, passed away. He'd raised his 6-year-old daughter, Emily, alone ever since. Every smile, every bedtime story, every small meal made with almost nothing, he'd done it all for her. Life had stripped him bare, but it had also made him gentle. The woman finally whispered, "Thank you," her voice shaky, almost lost beneath the rain. Logan nodded. He noticed her fingers, delicate yet shaking, clutching the edge of his jacket like it was her only lifeline. He wanted to ask who she was, where she came from, but one look at her eyes told him she wasn't ready to speak. So he just drove to by the time they reached his small home, a modest 2-bedroom cottage on the edge of town. The storm had begun to ease. Emily was asleep on the couch, surrounded by coloring books and a half-eaten cookie. The woman stared at the scene, her expression softening for the first time. Logan gestured to the spare room. "You can stay here tonight," he said simply. "The storm's bad. We'll figure things out in the morning." She looked like she wanted to protest, but was too exhausted to argue. So, she nodded. When Logan handed her a towel and some of his late wife's old clothes, he caught a glimpse of something in her eyes. A deep loneliness hidden behind layers of strength. Later, when she finally came out of the bathroom dressed in soft pajamas far too big for her, she looked human again. Not a runaway bride, not a stranger, just someone who had been hurt deeply. That night, while Emily snored softly in her room, Logan made a cup of tea and left it outside the woman's door. He didn't know her name yet, but something told him she wasn't just running from a wedding. She was running from a life that had betrayed her. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the curtains. Emily was the first to see her. The little girl gasped when she saw the woman sitting quietly at the kitchen table, wearing one of her mother's old sweaters. "Are you an angel?" she asked innocently. The woman smiled for the first time, her dimples showing. "Not quite," she replied softly, "but I guess I got lost on my way somewhere." Her name was Grace. She told Logan bits and pieces, how she'd been about to marry the son of a powerful millionaire, a man her father adored but she never truly loved. She discovered, only hours before the ceremony, that her fiancé had been cheating on her with her best friend. The marriage had been nothing but a deal between families. So she ran, away from wealth, from pretense, from everything she was supposed to be. "I just wanted to feel free," she said, tears welling up in her eyes. Logan listened quietly, his heart aching. He understood too well what it felt like to lose everything you thought mattered. As she spoke, Emily climbed into her lap and offered her a crayon drawing of a sun and 2 stick figures holding hands. "You can stay with us," Emily said cheerfully. Grace hugged the little girl, her tears spilling freely. That small gesture cracked something open inside her, a warmth she hadn't felt in years, Days turned into weeks. Grace stayed, helping around the house, cooking breakfast, and walking Emily to school. The townspeople whispered, of course. A beautiful woman suddenly living with a single dad always drew eyes. But Logan didn't care. For the first time since Clara's passing, there was laughter in the house again. Grace wasn't perfect. She was clumsy, she snored softly, and she struggled with her confidence, often glancing at herself in the mirror like she didn't belong in her own skin. But Logan saw her differently. He saw the kindness in her eyes, the way she knelt down to tie Emily's shoes, the way she hummed softly while doing dishes. She wasn't the picture-perfect bride the tabloids once showed. She was real, warm, and beautifully imperfect. One evening, as autumn leaves began to fall, Logan found her sitting on the porch, wrapped in a blanket. She looked up at him, her eyes glistening with the reflection of the setting sun. "I should go back," she whispered. "They're probably looking for me." Logan nodded slowly. "Maybe," he said, "but do they deserve to find you?" She looked away, her lips trembling. "I don't know who deserves me anymore." He smiled faintly. "Maybe start with yourself." It was in that moment she realized. She wasn't running from someone else. She'd been running from herself, from the fear that she wasn't enough, that her worth was tied to her dress size or her family's fortune. But here, in this small, worn-down house with a man who had almost nothing, she'd found more love and peace than in all the gold and glitter of her old life. Then one day, a black limousine pulled up outside the cottage. A tall man in a suit stepped out. It was her father's driver. He said her father had been searching everywhere, desperate and heartbroken. Grace's world tilted. She didn't want to go back. She looked at Logan, torn between two worlds, one of wealth and expectation, the other of sincerity and simplicity. Logan didn't stop her. He only said, "Follow what makes your heart quiet." Grace returned home that day, but only to tell her father the truth. She no longer wanted the life they had built for her. She wanted a life she could build for herself. Her father, seeing the strength in her eyes, finally understood. A week later, Grace came back, not in a limo, but walking down that same country road where Logan had found her. This time, she wasn't broken. She was glowing. She walked up to him, smiling through tears. "You once gave me a home when I had none," she said softly. "Now I want to build one, with you." Logan didn't answer. He simply opened his arms, and she fell into them. Emily cheered from the porch, her little heart already knowing what love meant long before words could define it. From that day forward, Grace and Logan built a life together. Not grand, not fancy, but real. She started a small bakery in town, and he continued his work at the diner. Every evening, they'd sit on the porch with Emily between them, watching the sunset. Grace often said that night in the storm had saved her, but Logan always replied, "Maybe we saved each other." If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Every story we share carries a piece of hope, and your support helps that hope reach more hearts around the world. Speech balloon special request. Comment below what true love means to you, because sometimes it's found in the most unexpected places. And as the evening sky painted their small world in gold and rose, Grace leaned her head on Logan's shoulder, whispering, "I thought I was running away from my life, but really, I was running toward it." Somewhere, in that humble home filled with laughter, warmth, and second chances, a single dad and a once broken woman proved that love isn't measured by wealth or perfection, but by the courage to open your heart again.